All right, man, I gotta tell you, I am so impressed with all of the submissions we've gotten to date. So keep up the great work and continue to email me or Mr. Tyler if you have any questions. All right, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because this is what we're going to knock out making today. Yesterday we ended up, if you're following along with all the videos for perspective, we ended up making these four buildings, building storefronts. We did it in one point. Now, at one point, the fronts of the buildings are all flat. They can line up and be the exact same size shapes. And the back half is the only thing that angles back to the vanishing point. If you look at the difference between the two, all it is we are standing right here with 2-point perspective. The illusion of depth is now coming from being perceived from two sides. So you're seeing the angle from this side, and then if you turn your face, then you're seeing the angle from the right side. So the storefronts, buildings 1 and 3 from yesterday's video, we said they're the same height. Well, you're going to look at this and think that this is smaller, but now it's because we are pulling back and they are not lined up side by side going horizontal. They're now being pulled back. So I'm going to show you how we're going to pull this off, and you guys are going to be off and running. This is what we're going to get accomplished today. We will worry about doing all the storefronts and windows and all that stuff another time. But to summarize, going from our earlier videos, we are pretty much going to knock out doing the bottom box. And the bottom box, if you remember from this video that was from last week, the right side goes to the right vanishing point, the left side to the left vanishing point, and when we get to roofs, we crisscross. With that being said, let's get her going. Let's do the thing. And for those of you that have been following along doing this with your older siblings and or any family members, I love seeing the photos. Thank you so much for doing so. It's makes it that much more entertaining for me. So start off with making a horizon line that cuts through the middle or close to the middle for your art. After doing that, I don't know if you guys remember what we did first after we had the vanishing point on there. Given we have 2 vanishing points this time, so I like labeling vanishing point 1 and 2. But what was the first thing before we could end up doing our buildings? We needed something to get started. We need to have the street and the sidewalks. So I'm going to find a middle between these, and I'm just going to eyeball it and lightly make a line. From this, I want to go from top to bottom. I want to go about 1/3 of the way down. So I made a little light dot. I'm going to line up my ruler to both vanishing points and crisscross through that dot. Now below that is going to be the street. So I'm going to say the street that wide. You choose how wide you want that to be. Usually, you know, if you're dealing with Iowa, you're not talking about 8-lane roads or anything. So we end up crisscrossing, cutting through. I'm going to erase this space in the middle because this is pretty much later crosswalks if we decide to go turbo and do extra details on these. But not ready for that. So let's get it out of here so we're not confused. I'm so confused. Where am I? Okay, so I have that done. Now what we're going to do is get the sidewalks in. So if I'm going to have a sidewalk on this side of the street, easy, just straight line down. If I'm going to have a sidewalk on this side of the street, you're like, well, that's just 1-point perspective. Well, now we're going to crisscross them. So we're going to go on the other side of the street. draw, pick up the pencil, and do it on the other side of the street. And then line up on the flippy flop. Always drives my wife a little bonkers when I use bad grammar. I'm so sorry, people, if it drives you bonkers. I do apologize. Okay, so that's how it should look. We should end up having some crazy time sidewalks that are going angling, coming across. All right. So after we ended up doing the sidewalks, then we started with our building number one. So building number one, from the horizon line to your sidewalk in the middle, I want you to go halfway. So find your halfway point, and then from that, draw straight down to the corner. We are going to make our buildings going to the right side, as I showed you earlier. Put your pencil at the top, line up to the vanishing point on the right, lightly draw a line going all the way back. We are going to erase a good chunk of this, but that tightrope we are going to line up a couple buildings too. Now, when we ended up making these, at the start, we said, okay, let's lightly make a little mark, a little mark, a little mark, so that we can gauge how much space we need. So I want to make this as easy for you as possible, and I want to try to cut into some steps. So from experience, from having done this for a few years with students, the ones that are successful, the ones that make really clean buildings, and the ones that save a lot of time, tend to keep these light lines on there, help guide them with making their other buildings. So we're going to make a couple marks. So I'm going to make a little mark saying that's going to be my building 1, this is going to be my building 2, this is my building 3. I'm going to give a little gap, and then that's going to be my building 4. I'm going to erase the tightrope in between those so I don't get confused later, like what was that for, and then I'm going to close it off with making a mark for building 4, and then I'm going to erase my scrap right here. So by keeping that light line, we're going to use that as a reference later to help us knock out making other buildings. So there's the ABA pattern here. We are going to do this over and over and over. So some of you might find this helpful if you do this, and if you're like, I'm good, I'll just keep pausing the video, I'm fine. So the ABA pattern is we go vertical, and then we're going to go angle, we're going to angle, and then we're going to go vertical. We're going to close off. I'm going to make a line. Close off the building. Okay? So, with doing this, we went vertical, we went angle, and now we need to go vertical. The vertical is the other side, how deep the building is, but it's matching our start line. So this part of the building is done. And now we're going to make a building next to it. So this one's taller, so line up vertical, draw the height a little bit, just a smidge taller. We need to go angle. We're still doing the right side. Come across, and then we're going to go vertical down. And I'm going to erase the extra scrap that cut through that taller building, and the extra scrap that don't need, it's on the side. So building 1 done, building 2 done for those sides. Now we're going to take our building 1, and it is the same height as building 3. This line right here, cheat sheet done. So we already have our vertical up done, we have our angle done. All we need to do is close it off going vertical. So building 3 done. Now if you are following along from yesterday's video, when you do building 4, it's identical to doing building 1. You have to start off by making your vertical, then your angle, which I kept that light line. I'm not going to use that, even though that would be great. I am copying this, trying my very best to make it exactly the same. So I made this one a smidge taller than that one, and so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make this guy just a hair taller. And after just extending the height of him a little bit, line up to the right vanishing point, angle him. So at this point, we are going to close him off. So vertical, angle, vertical. Building 4 front, done. So now this is the part that is a smidge different from the 1 point perspective. We are going to close off all of these buildings. So the left side is going to go to the left vanishing point. And one thing I love doing to make this speed up a little faster is after you go copy paste, copy paste, copy paste for that, then if you remember from yesterday, I made the angle, 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 angle line going to the vanishing point. Well, that's what I'm going to do going this direction. So start with the base of the building. That's done because it has the sidewalk. So now move on up. And we're going to go from building 1 to building 4. Lightly make a line. Put your pencil on the vanishing point on the left side again. Go to your next corner. Lightly make a line. Put your pencil on the vanishing point. Go to your next corner. Lightly line. Pencil on the left. Slide to your next corner. Lightly draw the line. And you just keep your pencil every time on that vanishing point on the left and lightly draw a line. Now if you remember from yesterday's video, building 3, we stop as soon as we hit building number 2. We're done with that one. Now with building 4, we need to do all of the sides. It is the same as building number 1. So I put my pencil on the vanishing point. I'm going to the bottom. There's no sidewalk, so I need to draw an alleyway. You're going to stop as soon as you hit that building. Put your pencil on the vanishing point on the left. And then line up to your next. Draw the line. Put your pencil back on the vanishing point, and then close off your building and do the back half of building 4. One thing you should be noticing is the building tops are getting smaller, smaller, smaller. And that's because the closer you get to the horizon line, the thinner things get, just like our streets. So the further you are away, the bigger it is. Just like the street is huge right here, that storefront should be big in too. Alright, now we are going to do the same thing we did on the right side, now on the left. So we start off, we make our vertical line, we make our angle line, and then we make our vertical line. So wherever you want to close off this building, make sure you have a parallel line going down. So I have that all done. I am going to erase the extra. I'm going to now do the rooftop. The rooftop is just crisscross applesauce. They are opposites. So this is when you're all done making your vertical, angle, vertical from both sides. Then you close off the top going opposites. So left goes to right vanishing point. Draw a line until you hit the next angle. Once you've done that, you can erase the scrap. Then we're going to, we have our vertical angle. I'm going to go from where this one ended to go vertical, parallel up. Now we have both sides of that building. Close it off. We're on the left side, which means you go right side. When you're on a rooftop, you go opposites. Erase your scraps. Ooh la la, it's so beautiful. Building 3, I love you because I don't have to do anything to your rooftop. You're just gorgeous. So now I'm gonna do my toughen, which is building 4. Building 4, we have to do the same that we did with yesterday's video, and we ended up taking a pencil and lightly drawing a line back here, saying, well, when we make a road back here, where does that road go to? So that we know where to start off building 4. So I'm going to put my pencil on the back half of building 1. I'm lining up to the right side because I'm saying there's going to be a road. And I'm just going to keep that light line cutting through the sidewalk right there. But I'm going to make a light line cutting through there. So this would be the road coming from behind. This is the road side right there. Well, we see that the road intersects right there. So with our angle line that we made. So I'm going to put my pencil there and draw vertically up. I don't want to draw through the building, so I'm just going to pick my pencil up and draw that little chunk right there. And if your brain is about to explode from all this new information, guess what? You're on the same page with the large majority of everybody that does this. But the process with all of it, it's amazing what you guys will knock out from having done this. I'm going to erase all the angle line cutting through building 4 that we're like, don't need it, get it out of here. And I just need to close off the top. Well, this top of building 4 is so shallow that you're like, it's already done. There's just that little line. I'm just going to freehand it. If you freehand it, now it doesn't look right. It's not right. So what we want to do is crisscross the top. Crisscross. We're on the left side, so put your pencil on the right vanishing point. Crisscross. And we're going to draw that line right there. And maybe you're thinking, well, that's where I was going to draw it freehanded. They just don't look good when you freehand small lines. It just doesn't look clean. Guys, that's it for today. So I'm going to zoom me outie. And I know you're probably thinking, but what about my windows? What about my doors? We will come back to that later in the week. I just want to get this part knocked out so that you understand ooh la la, ooh la la. So you should have intro to 2 point, intro to 1 point. Guess what? We're done. You don't need to hear any more of this. Have a good rest of your day. Catch you next time.